What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Juicy Jet Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Rooney, and it is Victory Sunday for the New York Jets as we recap the Jets' domination of the Green Bay Packers 30-10 in Lambeau Field last night for the first game of the 2025 NFL preseason for the New York Jets. It was a really fun night to be a Jets fan, and in no way whatsoever does this matter in the long run. Does it count for anything? But it was just a really good time, and it was fun to watch. And I feel like you got to be really happy as a Jet fan. Being able to sit down, finally watch your team get out on the field, see Aaron Glenn with the guys, and watch it all play out. So what we're going to do today is recap the first team offense, the first team defense. We're going to talk about some players that really stood out last night, maybe a few players that didn't stand out, that maybe you were hoping to see them stand out, and kind of just go through maybe 15 minutes of what last night was all about. So let's get started with the first team offense, because this was like kind of controversial. It was, do you start our starters and potentially risk someone putting themselves out there to get hurt, and then we don't have enough depth to back them up when the season starts, or do you play them because, we're not that great of a team, we're trying to build new chemistry, we got to see Fields actually play. In order to get better at football, you got to play football, that whole thing. So Aaron Glenn decides to play the starters, and what an awesome first drive of the game. I think you got to be really happy. Now, remember, preseason, everything's vanilla across the board, meaning the Jets weren't going to show anything fancy on the offensive side, and the Packers were also not going to do anything crazy on the defensive side. So, no blitzing, nothing like that. So I'm sure there wasn't anything that confusing going on for Justin Fields, but let's start with him. Justin Fields played really well last night. He was 3 for 4 passing. He had one not great pass to Garrett Wilson. He threw it out way too far ahead of him, and Garrett had to dive and couldn't make the catch. But I thought he looked comfortable. He was coming out of the huddle, seemed to know exactly where he wanted the ball to go. He would look downfield and then break down to the dump off across the middle, and he had some really nice passes. A nice first down on a 3rd and long to Tyler Johnson. Andrew Beck, which we're going to talk a little bit about, but he led the team in receptions with 2 for 36 yards. And he's kind of like we've talked about him before. He's the fullback that I think will make the roster because he's probably our best blocking tight end, even though he's a fullback. So I think a lot of those plays where he was kind of jumping out across the middle as like the little dump off safety valve, I think that's probably going to be Mason Taylor in the regular season, but Mason Taylor was hurt and wasn't playing, so Andrew Beck stepped right in, and he looked awesome, and he showed some yards after catch ability, which was really cool. So Justin Fields did a really nice job of finding him a few times. And then I think the biggest piece to Justin Fields' game, which us Jet fans are not used to because we've never had this before in our entire history of the New York Jets, is a quarterback who can run. And you saw it on 2 plays. I think he had 2 rushes for 14 yards. The first one was a short little run to the outside where he could break out of the pocket if he needed to. And then the second one, of course, was his touchdown run. The pocket was starting to collapse around him. He stepped up, rolled out to the right, saw some open space, and then hit to the pylon. So really cool to see him do that, and I hope we can see him do that 10 times this year. If he can get 10 rushing touchdowns, then I feel like we're going to have a decent season. And now on that touchdown play, one person I do want to call out is Isaiah Davis. I'm sure you guys have seen this. It's been going around the internet. But Isaiah Davis is running a crossing pattern, and he's right in front of Fields as Fields is about to run. So instead of Isaiah Davis just giving up on his route or trying to block the guy that's covering him, Isaiah Davis pretends like Justin Fields is going to throw to him in the corner of the end zone, and he puts up his hands like the ball is coming his direction, which distracts the defender and has the defender run with Isaiah Davis, which gives Justin Fields a hole to actually run and score the touchdown. So heady play by Isaiah Davis to, separate the defender from Justin Fields so he can get into the end zone. And for me, that just goes back to coaching. I think that's Aaron Glenn. That's being situationally ready for what's about to happen in an NFL game. So nice job by Isaiah Davis. Way to keep your head in the game. All right, I do want to talk about the running backs. I thought the running backs looked pretty good. On that first drive, it was a mix of all 3 of them. So I thought it was really cool to see how it's not just Breece Hall. Breece had a couple runs, nothing special. I thought he looked fine. Braylon Allen looked great. the offensive line had a huge hole where Braylon Allen just shot right through, and he concussed a guy on the hit because, he's 250 pounds running right at you, and you're a safety who's 190, 210 maybe, somewhere in between there. You're going to get trucked every single time, and he got knocked out. So Braylon Allen looked really good in the game, and I thought Isaiah Davis had a pretty good game too. Nothing too crazy with him. He only had 6 rushes for 15 yards or something like that. So nothing special, but I think he's going to be a big factor in what our offense does. And then I do want to shout out the offensive line too. I thought probably the best player on offense was AVT. AVT was moving people all over the place in the run game, and I thought he was pretty good in pass protection. Shout out to Olu Fashanu. He looked pretty good in pass protection as well. Joe Tippmann played left guard, and Myers played center. Myers did not look... he got trucked once, but the rest he was okay. I thought Tippmann looked good when he was on the run, so that was really good to see. We know he's really good at that because he's super athletic. And then, of course, our first-round pick, Armand Membu, I think it was 10 pass protection snaps because he played a second drive as well, and he let up 0 pressures. So that's all you can really ask for. And you could tell Engstrand was calling a game where they are going to run behind AVT and Armand Membu constantly. So look for us to run to the right pretty consistently this year because of those, both AVT and Membu being really strong run blockers who could move people in the run game. So that was really, really exciting. The receivers, nothing crazy on that first drive. It was really just Tyler Johnson. He got open. It looks like he's going to be wide receiver 3 because Lazard's not really breaking through, and Lazard hurt his shoulder in this game. So it's interesting to see Reynolds, Wilson, and then Tyler Johnson instead of Lazard. So I'm sure they'll all swap in back and forth. But I thought that looked good. Lazard had a good block on that big Braylon Allen run, so that was great to see. Garrett, he wasn't really involved, and neither was really Reynolds. So that first drive was awesome. It was great to see. The only person on the starting offense that I was a little disappointed in is Jeremy Ruckert. He did not get involved at all. Didn't see him out there really. So he's a disappointment right now. We'll see how he steps up because the rest of the tight ends did some great things during the game. All right, let's talk about, so Justin Fields goes down, scores 7 points, and then we take him out of the game. So that was perfect. Left it out on a high note. I wish we saw him a little bit more, but I want to see him throw it on the field a little bit. I'm not going to get too excited because it was 3 basically dump-offs where they let the receivers do the work, and then he ran the ball a little bit. So it was exciting, but let's not go crazy. It was only one game. It was only one drive. So encouraging, though. I'd rather be a Jets fan today than be a Packers fan watching that game. First team defense. I thought the best player on the entire field was Sauce Gardner. The first 3 plays, well, actually the first play of the game, of course, was an offside by Jay Tufele. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Here we go. We're making these stupid offside penalties again. And then the next 3 plays were all Sauce Gardner. Pass deflection, tackle in the run game, and then another great coverage where he deflected a pass on 3rd down. So Sauce Gardner took over. He was playing much more physical. He looked really good. I was very excited about that. Linebackers looked very quick and physical, so happy about those 2. And then the D-line. Of course, Michael Clemens, it took less than 10 minutes into the game. He got a personal foul penalty. That guy cannot be on the field. He just commits way too many penalties. It drives me nuts. And Aaron Glenn gave it to him. Took him right out of the game and gave him a good talking to on the sideline. He did the same thing with Marcelino McCrary-Ball later in the game when he committed a 15-yard penalty. So the accountability is there. And some people were joking that, did we see more accountability from Aaron Glenn in one preseason game than we did from Robert Saleh on the sideline in 3-4 years of him coaching the team? Maybe, because Aaron Glenn got feisty and he got right in their faces, and you could tell that it's not something that he's going to stand for. So that was really cool to see. And you can feel that Aaron Glenn is really a part of every phase of this football team. So that was really good. So first team defense, nothing crazy. I thought Will McDonald looked really good. He had a really great spin move to the inside, which the offensive lineman pulled him to the ground. I don't know how they didn't call holding, but then Jay Tufele cleaned it up and got the sack on the play. So even though that Will McDonald play is not going to show up in the stat sheet, it led to positive results for our defense. So, man, I'm excited about Will McDonald. And we actually just got news this morning that Jermaine Johnson is going to be activated off the PUP list starting at practice on Tuesday. So, yeah, we got our 2 DNs back. So, very exciting, and to see what he can do without Michael Clemens on the other side of him. So, good stuff there. All right, let's talk about the rest of the game. The rest of the game went really well. I thought the quarterbacks looked pretty good. Like Brady Cook, his first NFL game ever, looked decent. Like he missed some passes. He threw one really nice. It was a nice catch by Tyler Johnson for about 15 yards or something like that. But man, it was wobbly. I don't know what happened, if it got tipped or something like that, but didn't look perfect. But he was 6 for 8. He had a pretty good day. And it was cool, like seeing his family in the stands and all that kind of stuff. So good for Brady Cook. Adrian Martinez, he's a fun quarterback to watch in the preseason. I don't think he'll ever play in an actual NFL game unless something disastrous happens. But he is fun to watch because he can run. He's very similar to Fields, not as good as a runner, but similar. And he can still throw too. Like he's not a bad passer. He can play football. So I was happy with the quarterbacks. It's gonna be interesting to see. Who do they keep? Do they keep both of them on the practice squad? I don't know. Running backs. A couple of others I want to talk about. They put Nwanwu out there a few times as a running back. I think he's going to be the primary kick returner still. You could see he had some good juice in the kick return game. Donovan Edwards, though, he was the big winner, I think, out of all the running backs. You know, Braylon Allen played really well, obviously, but we know he's making the team. Donovan Edwards, I don't know if there's a place for him on this roster just because you can't keep 5 running backs if you include Nwanwu as our kick returner. So I don't know if he makes it, but like, I don't know, Isaiah Davis had a calf injury, or I think it was, or an ankle injury after this game. So if someone goes down, he's a really great guy to have, but will we get him on the practice squad, or someone going to scoop him up for another team? But he had a great game. 9 carries, 42 yards. He was active in the passing game as well. And then he had like a 70-yard run for a touchdown where you can see the breakaway speed. It was called back by like a ticky-tack holding call, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. But he looked really good. He looked fast. He's got to get rid of the number 40 because it does not look good on him. But otherwise, I thought he had a really good game. So I'm excited to see him the next 2 preseason games as well. He's going to get a lot of action, which was nice. Who else do we want to call out? Okay, receivers. I thought the play of the night was by Quentin Skinner. We don't talk a lot about him on here because he really hasn't done a ton. He's made some good plays in practice, but nothing that's like outstanding. But he had that huge, I think it was like a 25-yard catch where he got up from, I think it was Adrian Martinez that threw the pass to him, and brought it down. And the reason he is so good at that is because he's so tall. He's 6'5", so he's going to tower over any cornerback that's playing against him, so he can go up and get it. And I think Martinez made an error on the second time he tried to throw to Skinner because it was in the end zone, and instead of throwing him the jump ball, he kind of threw it behind him, and Skinner couldn't turn around fast enough to get it. So I think he could have had a bigger game than he really did. So he's one to look out for. Like the Corley didn't do much this game. Like he had 1 catch, I think it was. So he wasn't very active. Xavier Gibson didn't play because he was hurt. Lazard just got hurt. So is there room for a Quentin Skinner to make the team? I don't know. We'll see. But I like having a big body like that, especially if like Lazard's not out there, because Lazard's probably our other big body that we have. So yeah, I thought he played pretty well. Brandon Smith had 2 nice catches. Nothing super flashy, but he was like 2 for 25 yards or something like that. So I thought he played solid. Arian Smith, 2 nice catches from him. But I think the big play is he runs a go route down the left side. Adrian Martinez somehow overthrows the guy, which is insane because he's the fastest man on the planet. But you could see he beat his guy right off the line, and he was gone. So if that's a Justin Fields throwing that ball, who has a great deep ball, that's a touchdown. So that was really cool to see. He also caught every pass thrown his way, and that's the thing we were worried about. So good to see him get involved there. Pritchard was a little active, but more like in the punt game and things like that. I think his versatility could have him make the roster, but it depends on Xavier Gibson, so we'll see about him. Tight ends. All the tight ends got involved except for Ruckert. Stone Smart with a really great play off the tight end screen. All the linemen got out right in front of him. It was beautiful blocking. I thought Xavier Newman got out ahead. He looked great. And yeah, it was like a 25-yard touchdown from Stone Smart. So while he's not the best blocker, he can catch and he can run. So that was cool to see. I'm a big fan of Stone Smart. Zach Kuntz got in the game, and he caught a pass down the sideline and trucked over his defender and knocked him out of the game too. So he was playing physical. And then, Ruckert is the only one who just didn't get involved. It'll be great to see Mason Taylor if he ever comes back from that injury, so that'll be nice. So I think that's everyone on the offense that I wanted to shout out. Let's talk about the defense. The big question coming into this game was the D-line. No Quinton Williams, no Byron Cowart, who is going to step up, and of course no Jermaine Johnson, who's going to step up in this game. Now, one guy I have really not talked about at all is Jay Tefele. While he had that penalty on the first play of the entire game, he played awesome, and he was very quick off the line. He made some really nice moves. There are plays, if you watch him, where the play doesn't go his way, but he beats his man. And, this is like a starting guard that he's beating, a guy that from the 49ers, the Packers paid a lot of money for. And Jay Tefele's beating him with great moves, and he was always around the ball. So he had, I think, 2 sacks, and then he had a fumble recovery in the end zone for a touchdown. And on that play, the guy who created the sack off Malik Willis was Leonard Taylor. And Leonard Taylor probably has the highest ceiling of any defensive lineman besides Quinnen Williams on our roster, but he hasn't lived up to that hype yet, so he's got so much potential, and I want him to be good so badly. And that was a great start, and we haven't really heard from him in camp. Same thing with Tefele. We haven't heard from either of them in camp. And for them to make big plays like that in this game was super exciting and super encouraging. I hope it continues through the rest of the preseason and into the regular season. And it was funny, after Tefele scored his touchdown, he goes over to Aaron Glenn to give him the ball. And Aaron Glenn goes, "No, this is preseason. I don't need this." So he gets it right back to him. He's like, "This is your touchdown." So that was good to see. There were a couple other people that were active, like Fedarian Mathis. There was Eric Watts was a little active. Trying to think if there was anyone else. I didn't really hear Tyler Barron a lot, Braden McGregor. I'm trying to look through the roster here, see if there's anyone else. Yeah, no one else really stood out that much. I wish I saw more from Tyler Barron, but it's all right. Still, first game of the preseason, thought they played well. Linebackers, Jamin Davis had a pretty good game. I thought he played really well. Jamarcus Weston, he is a guy we just signed recently to play special teams, and he gets right out there and recovers a fumble on a punt return. So that was really exciting for him. Marcelino McCrary-Ball has played well, but he had that big penalty, so that's going to be a negative on him. And Zaire Barnes led the team in tackles. So linebackers looked okay. I thought in the secondary, my guy Quantez Stiggers had a really good game. He was great on the punt gunner, where he made a tackle on Mecole Hardman deep inside their own 5, which led to that touchdown, which is great. So I thought he played well. He was pretty good in coverage, too. Didn't really see Stevens much. Tony Adams, I thought, had a good game, but then he got hurt. Bump Cooper, another guy who I really haven't heard much of out of camp. He was starting with the 2s, and he played pretty well. He was pretty active all over the place, so exciting to see. I think the one guy that you can call out as not having a great game, I think it was Dean Clark. Dean Clark missed a crucial tackle on a run play up the middle that turned into a 40-yard touchdown run. So you got to make those tackles. When you're one-on-one space like that, you're the last man standing, you have to make the tackle, or else that's 7 points. So not great from him. But otherwise, I thought the rest of the defense played really well. And it was cool to see Steve Wilkes, and his game plans and all that kind of stuff. And this is all without blitzing. And then I think finally the last thing I want to talk about is kicking and punting. So Nick Folk, he didn't have any field goals, but he went 1 for 1 on extra points, which was good. And then the thicker kicker, Harrison Mevis. Holy cow, that was shaky. He hit all of his field goals. He was 3 for 3, and then he was 2 for 2 on extra points. But I don't think one of them was right down the middle. I think they were all very scary. So it might be one of those things where they're just going to play him as much as we can over the next 3 games, knowing that Nick Folk will be the starter, to see if Mevis should be on the practice squad or if we should let him go. And then finally, Austin McNamara, our punter. I didn't know we had such a deadly weapon at punter. So exciting to see. He had some really good kicks in this game, which led to a turnover, led to a stop where, Hardman caught it on the 3-yard line, and we were able to make a tackle because of his hang time. So I thought he played really well too. So exciting to see that we potentially have a punter. So overall, really fun game to watch. Multiple turnovers, multiple points scored, touchdowns. It was great. Special teams, defense, offense, everybody got involved. The starting team looked really good, and it was exciting to see. But once again, preseason, none of this matters right now. It's all just building blocks to whatever week 1's going to be. And like I said, I'd rather be a Jets fan coming out of that game rather than being a Packers fan, which just got our butts whooped by the 5-13 New York Jets from last year. Now, last thing I want to say is shout out to Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn gets his first win. He said after the game that he was, it doesn't matter if it's preseason. I want to win every game. I want to learn how to win. I want the team to learn how to win and win consistently. So he's had some really positive things to say. I think he knows that there's a lot of stuff he's still got to fix, including the penalties. So he's really big on that accountability around those penalties and knows that we're not going to win any games with things like that happening. And but overall, he was very complimentary of a lot of the players on his team, the offensive line, Justin Fields, all those guys. So with that is game one. The Jets 1-0 on the preseason, 30 points on the board, which we don't see very often. I think we only got that like twice last year with Aaron Rodgers. So really fun stuff. So happy that football's back. So happy that the Jets are back. I will say it was weird watching it on TV and not being there. I don't think I like watching it at home. I got kind of bored because there was not a lot of energy around me. But that's it. This was our game one recap. We will do a regular pod probably tomorrow, getting ready because the New York Giants and the New York Jets are going head-to-head with practices together for 2 straight days this week, and then they play on Saturday. So we will talk all of that and more on the Juicy Jet podcast. Don't forget, please like, rate, subscribe, review all across Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, JuicyJet25. Go show us some love. Thank you all for listening. Go Jets. Have a good victory Sunday, and we'll talk to you soon.